I'm running away from Mr. Hyde. He scares the heck out of me. Where I'm safe because they're not in the studio, so I'm cool. They can be at this distance. Without further ado, I have to basically tell you guys that I'm here with. So it's going to be Burt Grinstead and Anna Stromberg. They're on the line right now. They're going to talk about The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, which was directed by Anna Stromberg. Wow. And they're taking their show, which was at the Hollywood Fringe Festival last year. Sorry that I have to have some coffee. And they're going to be going to the Soho Playhouse, no less. And this is going to start on May 21st through, April 21st through May 26th. They're going to have a 6-week run there. They've been nominated for 6 awards at the Hollywood Fringe Festival for Best Comedy. They also have awards from BroadwayWorld.com. Was it a nomination or was it you guys won the award?
I think we were just nominated for that. We were nominated for several awards with Broadway World. Unfortunately, we didn't win.
But you guys won the award. I know that you won the award for the Tucson Theater Award with distinctive voices, and also you guys were the winners of the Soho Playhouse French Encore Series, which is why we're here today. That was amazing, guys. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
I was so thrilled to see you on stage because I'm a fan of classic stories like Dracula and Dorian Gray. So when I saw you guys were doing Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, I wanted to see it so bad, right? But it was so busy. I could not believe how busy it was at the Hollywood Fringe. So I missed the show until you guys won the award. And I'm like, oh, my God, I wanted to see that show so bad. So I was like, they've been extended. Awesome. Okay, I'm going to go see them. So I did get to see you guys. And I was blown away so bad. I was like, oh, my God, that was amazing.
Thank you so much.
Anyway, how you guys doing? Yeah, no, it was an experience. So, anyways, this is your show, not mine. So, how you guys doing? Are you guys ready for New York?
Well, there's a lot to do. Fortunately, we did the show at the Soho Playhouse as part of the Fringe Encores in December. And so we have a little bit of experience there, and we have kind of like a little bit of rehearsal time and things like that already in the books. So now we're just going and kind of remounting the same show we did with a few little added upgrades. But it shouldn't be too hard. But you never know with these sorts of things.
Yeah, it's sort of like the list gets longer and longer as it gets closer and closer to leaving.
Yeah, we just keep remembering stuff that we need to do, all that stuff, and
right.
And we're also, this is our first time really being theater producers as well.
Yeah.
So we're kind of exploring what that actually means as far as marketing and all this other stuff. So that's it. Right.
All the stuff that you take for granted when you're in something or just directing something and not doing the rest of it.
Yeah. Well,
you're like,
I know. I know what you guys went through because I went through the same. Well, maybe not the same.
Yeah.
But I had an 8 people cast in my show plus.
Oh wow!
I think it was two stand-ins or standbys or what are they called? So, anyways, what's that? Understudies, right? So, and you guys were 2 of you, so that alone was such, and then you have that much material to remember, and not only that, but so Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Of course, it's two different characters. However, about Anna doing how many more characters you had to do?
Let's see. I think at the last count it was 13. Yeah, I think it's 13 different characters. Yeah, 13.
And it was like a split second, like you were one character, another character the next second, and I'm like, I cannot believe what I just see. And you were a man, you were an Englishman with a pipe, and then you were a beautiful girl. I don't know, I don't remember the names of the characters, but you had to transform only a prop or only a hat or only and then you have a library and your props. I must say, like, I had never seen so many things that come out of that box. I was like, what the? Oh my God.
So we can give a little context to the listeners. What we did was we created these four pieces as our set, and then we unfolded them throughout the show to kind of create different scenery. And
we called it the Tetris set because it was sort of like a series of staircases, and they could all fit together in different configurations. And then we'd open up certain drawers, switch certain drawers around, and they would become different things. Burt actually designed and built the set, so that was pretty interesting. Building that in our apartment, our neighbors loved us. Yeah. And then that was interesting. Just choreographing all of that, and I was the director, so I really made sure that Burt was the one to do all of the moving of the pieces.
we created him, right?
I directed him to do all of the heavy lifting.
Anna brilliantly kind of gave us specific responsibilities, and mine was to do the set, and Anna was to do all the props and costumes. So she had to change. I think she had, like, by the end of it, maybe 30 different pieces of props and costumes that she just had to, remember exactly where they were and where they're placed and stuff like that. Because as you said, it was like a split second change from one to the next. Yeah, I think when we did it here in Los Angeles at the LGBT Center, we were very lucky and very fortunate to have some amazing people working with us who were helping backstage as well with the quick changes. But when we went to New York, for a number of reasons, one was that the space where I had to change was pretty small, not because the stage is small, but just because of how we blocked it. So I had to do all the costume changes by myself, and I was pretty exhausted that whole time.
Yeah, I can tell. No, and you guys are so physical too. During the performance, you give so much to the audience, and then you scare the audience, and then you're running, and then you're up the stairs, down the stairs, up the stairs again, and that alone is like, oh my God, that takes a lot. No wonder you guys won the award, because I'm like, yeah, that was amazing. Like, you guys, and you transported me to London, 1860s, and you transformed me to that era. And I had never read the novel. I read other ones, but not this particular one. Now I'm very interested because you kind of stuck to the script, right?
We sped through the script,
or stuck
no, like you kept to the book. Like the book was really the inspiration, and so.
Actually, I'm recording an audio book of the of Robert Louis Stevenson's book, just to kind of use as a giveaway for certain tickets for this run that we're doing in New York. So I was rereading it just the other day. What? What's that?
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, well, maybe then you'll be able to listen to that one version rather than have to read it. It's kind of it's an interesting novel or novella, I guess, because it is pretty short, but it has kind of a strange way of being set up, and I'm becoming a very big fan of Robert Louis Stevenson and his writing, but he does have a really specific style, so it is a little bit hard to get through. even though it is a short and sort of revolutionary novel in the way that it presents these ideas and stuff like, and is pretty scary at the same time. But yes, we throughout the story we stuck almost exactly to the major plot points of the actual novella. The only things that we added were a little bit of a backstory to Dr. Jekyll, and a little bit of a love interest, because in the novel there's no love interest. But a lot of the movies did a love interest, so we sort of parodied the movies while we were parodying the novel as well. So it was a combination of a lot of different things, but with still our own original spin of the backstory. The novella actually starts. I don't know if you remember our production very recent, because it's been a year since we did it here. But the novella actually starts with Utterson talking to Richard Enfield in our play. We did it as Richard Dean Enfield, as talking about how Hyde trampled over a little girl. So that in our play, that comes probably about 4 or 5 scenes into the play, so about 15 to 20 minutes into the play.
9 scenes in.
Yeah.
Actually.
Is it 9
Yeah.
scenes? Yeah. Yeah, so it happens.
You would know.
Yeah, I know. It happens in probably about 15 to 20 minutes after the play started. So all that 15 to 20 minutes that we created is more backstory.
Okay, that's cool to know. Because I would have never known. I thought it was just like you would read it in the novel. But now that I know, I'm interested in hearing your audiobook.
Yeah, please, yeah. And then I'll send over a link. And then the other thing is the Jekyll isn't actually the main character of the novel. Utterson is the main character.
He was the one in the play that we made, the Scottish one with that white hat. Yeah, the old. Yeah,
I love that.
so he was actually the solicitor, the lawyer character is actually the main character in the novella.
But it's all about Jekyll and Hyde. It's actually written more as a mystery, because I don't think you're supposed to know that Hyde and Jekyll are the same person until the very end. It's like a big twist. It's kind of got
right.
But
right.
now everybody knows.
It's like the
twist.
Sixth Sense of the 1800s.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Spoiler alert.
Right. Well, by now, if you don't know that.
Right.
Well, the funny thing is, here's another anecdote that I have is I'm doing a play about the Little Prince, right? But I assume the Wizard of Oz was known by everybody last year. I'm talking to people about, the show Little Prince, and they're like, "What is that? Oh, is that the Netflix movie?" And I'm like, no, it's based on a book. I have to explain to people, like, this is actually a very known French novel, and I have to talk about it.
Saint-Exupéry. Did you do that last year or this coming year?
Oh,
okay.
Last year I did The Wizard of Oz. Well, it was called the Oz Monologues, which is about the characters from The Wizard of Oz. But and even then, I had to explain to people, like, have you heard of The Wizard of Oz? And they're like, no. And I'm like,
wow.
Oh God.
That's so.
But some people have not heard of it.
Yeah.
They've heard of Wicked. See, they heard of Wicked. So I had to basically find something that's new. Like, it's like Wicked, but it's not. And so, and even then, I'm like, oh, don't even think about Wicked anymore. Don't even see it, because come see the show, and then you can see whatever else.
It was a pretty fascinating experience with us too. When we were doing it here, a lot of people said what you said, which is they haven't actually read the novella, but they know they've seen so many different. I mean, there's been over 140 film adaptations alone of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. So everybody knows the story, but nobody really knows that the original material. And when we went to New York, it was a totally different vibe in a lot of ways. It was a lot of people that knew the original material and were very, very interested to see in how we adapted the original material. Instead of out here, it was more how we adapted the film material. It's just a very different crowd.
Yeah. Because I'm confused too, because who is Mary Riley? Is that a character, or is that just a fictional character?
From the John Malkovich? Is that
yeah, John Malkovich, Julia Roberts movie.
Yeah. Right. I mean, she was like the maid. I remember seeing that a while ago, but I haven't seen it since we started working on this. Actually, that's one of the ones we didn't.
Actually, I haven't seen that adaptation.
That's the latest I remember.
There's a couple characters that are mentioned in the books that most of the film adaptations took and like expounded upon significantly. One of them is the hotel maid that witnesses the murder, and then another one is this person that Hyde hires to be like his assistant, to be his like quiet assistant. And
so I'm assuming that's who Mary was. Who Mary Riley probably was the equivalent of the.
So in a couple of film adaptations, they made the hotel maid a love interest, and then Mary, she was probably the Hyde assistant.
Mm-hmm.
But they're rare. It's really not mentioned very much in the novella.
Okay. See, I have to read the novel now. Like, okay, I gotta stick to the original. Sometimes it's best to do that because we're doing a Little Prince, and then if we base it on pop culture, it will be exciting because we're doing it as a. I'm not the director this time around, so I'm like, whew, that's a relief. But it's going to be a sensory experience. Will be in the dark. So it'll be kind of like yours because you also have a lot of shadows. Obviously, you had the London landscape in the background.
We were so lucky here to work with Matt Richter
and Adam Martin
over at the LGBT Center. They're incredible, and that space is amazing. And they were able to just do amazing things that really helped create a pretty cool atmosphere.
Yeah, Anna's whole thing with the silhouettes is one of my favorite parts. That I think that's what you're talking about, which would be really cool to see with the Little Prince.
But that's so exciting. So it's
right.
So did you write the adaptation?
I did not. No, actually, I don't know. Well, you probably haven't seen it, but it was one of my cast members, she played the flying monkey in my show. So her name is Irina Kampa. She's actually going to be doing her first show this year. So I'm basically helping her with the production.
Oh, amazing.
And so she wrote it. She's going to act in it. She's going to direct it. But I think she needs help.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
gosh, everybody needs help with it. It's a great. Yeah, you really need a great sense of community. It's really good for that. That's exciting, though.
Yeah, it will be exciting, and but it makes you rediscover. It makes you discover what's in the page, what's in the in the book. She's actually finding a lot of things that I had no idea. I'm like, what? I'm like, wow, that's a really good quote, and so I'm sure you found that along the way when you read the story in the original Stevenson novel. That makes you go like, wow, I wish people read this book because it's amazing and it's such a lot of content. And I'm sure that's happened, but otherwise it wouldn't be inspiring so many movies and so many adaptations.
Yeah, definitely. And I think there are so many different themes that you can kind of hone in on and focus on. And I think that's another big reason why so many people have chosen to take their own spin on it. Because that idea of light and dark and that juxtaposition, you know, it can be true in so many different aspects of life, and it's so ubiquitous and so relatable. So it's a really great, it's a great thing to kind of pull upon, and it's also, it really lends itself to the drama just because of that Gothic literature was so dramatic, and you can almost lean towards the melodrama and still you're safe because the text is there to kind of back you up.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I think it's just the other thing is I don't know if the novella is really great and really classic, but it is a dense read. And there's a lot of times where I do wish people had read it and then seen our play, because then it would be interesting to have their opinions about like what we kept the same and what we differed and all that stuff, and our major theme with it versus the major themes of the book. But I do think that part of the reason that there's been so many adaptations, though, is more what Anna said, which is the theme, the interest, the idea that everybody can relate to the fact that they feel a little darkness inside them. And this book really is just like the actual literal representation of somebody letting their darkness take over them, you know, in a very scary way.
Right. As a reaction to this very puritanical society that's like, if you indulge in any emotion or any impulse that's outside of, you know, these very strict societal standards and codes, then, you know, you're sort of shunned, very heavily judged. So for us, it was really about like, how do you find that balance of marching to the beat of your own drum, but also like where do you find your ethical code amidst all of, like, when you're pulled in so many different directions? Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, it was really fun to explore, and as we were writing it, you know, getting down to the brass tacks and like, what do we really want to say and what do we really want to investigate, and I think that part of it really brought Burt and I closer as a couple. I don't know if we mentioned that. We're a couple. We're engaged. We're getting married.
We sort of got married on set.
He actually proposed to me while we were doing Jekyll and Hyde, when we were doing the extension.
Oh.
Yeah. So, and then actually,
that's so nice.
Right after we, I know, it's so cute. Right after we do the run in New York, we're gonna be getting married. So,
cool.
Very exciting time.
Jekyll and Hyde has been with us through the whole thing. But it's also fun to.
It's kind of funny that we're like, oh, Jekyll and Hyde, it brought us together.
What a scary,
romantic
story about evil.
Right.
But
not really.
But it also
murder.
Yeah, it also was a lot of fun to make fun of it too, and kind of use those. But still like poke fun at what society is and all that stuff, because that, you know, ours is outrageous comedy. It's not, you know, we tried to.
It's funny.
Heighten it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and
nowadays. Crazy energy.
Nowadays, actually, a lot of the horror movies that I've seen, and I just saw last night. I saw Us, which is in theaters. It's very heavily. It's very heavy, yet it's funny, and I guess there's comedy in everything. So I think what you did with Jekyll and Hyde was intense, obviously, and it was a dark theme, but you kind of made it light, and the light moments were so funny, and especially the characters. And I was surprised by Anna. I was like, is she doing how many? I just like lost track. I'm like, how many characters is she doing? Like, this is like, okay. I know Jekyll and Hyde was the main focus, but I'm like, I was distracted by it. I'm like, hold on a second. She's okay. So it was funny. It was hilarious. I thought it was a perfect combination of horror, comedy, drama, and all of that. And it's just you guys did a fabulous job.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. That's really nice to hear that actually affected you in that way. So, because that's kind of our mantra of our whole company. It's, and all the stuff that we try to make together is try to create a shared experience with an audience. And I think that the best ways to do that are through a little bit of frights and lots of laughs.
Yeah.
Because everybody can kind of
and I think
together.
It's like a roller coaster, like a roller coaster.
Yeah.
And you laugh.
yeah.
Right.
And I feel like
I'm sorry, you were going to say something?
If you you have to kind of care about these people in order to care about the story, care what's happening. And I think an easy way of doing that, we're kind of, we're using whatever we can. An easy way of getting, caring about the characters is laughing with them. I think if a character is charming or funny, that's a really easy way to get you to care about them. And so then when these kind of melodramatic moments happen, or when something scary happens, there's more stakes. You really want them to be okay. And so that was another reason why we wanted to add these different levels. And because I love, I absolutely love like Halloween and all things kitschy like that. So I'm a big fan of like haunted houses, and the best thing about them is that they have they take you on this crazy ride,
Yeah.
One of my favorite parts.
Yeah.
One of my favorite parts of the novella is when Utterson first discovers. It's early on in the book. Utterson first discovers what Hyde actually is. He's like the scary human being, right? And so he starts having nightmares and these like images, and it's a really horrifying section of the book. And then he comes to this resolve of I need to see Hyde in order to get over this fear. And then he says to himself, he be Hyde. If he be Mr. Hyde, then I shall be Mr. Seek. And it's just like sort of this comedic, it's sort of this comedic cap on this really horrifying section. And we stole that for the play, that exact line for one of the lines in the play.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But I think it's such a good representation of how the book should be felt, as this like really real, grounded, horrifying thing, but at the same time it's still very, everything has a sense of humor. Without a sense of humor, there's no reality. If you make anything,
one-dimensional,
all dark, yeah,
exactly. That's what's wrong with Hollywood sometimes. Anyway, I'm like, I can say so much, but we only have a few minutes left. But so just to recap with the audience who's listening. So you guys will be at Soho Playhouse. Once again, it's going to be April 21st through May 26th. Are you going to come? You're going to run across Bill possibly, right? Because he's at the same Soho.
Yeah. Actually, we actually are starting previews on April 17th, so we're going in pretty early on Wednesday, April 17th. So you can get tickets to those too.
Yeah, so we have 4 shows I think before that April 21st opening. Yeah, and then we'll be there. Yeah, and then we'll be there through May 26th at the Soho Playhouse in New York City.
What?
So we're gonna hang out with Bill.
I know he's really funny.
He's amazing.
I had the show. I had the show, and I was just laughing at him moving the truck. It was just hilarious.
Yeah, we listened to that. That's so funny.
It's so real. It's like, it's real. I'm moving my car. I'm getting a ticket as we're speaking. I'm like, oh, God.
That's really the impression I got from Bill when we met him. I was just like, man, this guy is full of big ideas, and he commits to them, and that's amazing. It's amazing to be around somebody that, like, really goes for it.
Yeah.
120%.
Yeah.
You guys,
cool guy.
You guys saw his show?
We're going to see it in New York.
Oh, okay. I won't spoil it for you, but
yeah, unfortunately,
talk about comedy mixed with. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no! Go on, please.
No, I was going to say, talk about comedy that will, at the end, anyways, I won't spoil it, but it's live. It's live. It's, he makes this comedy with humor with the real biracial tension that we have in the country and his personal experience with it. And so I won't give it away, but you guys will laugh.
I'm so excited to see
and
it.
then again, you will cry because he takes you there, and it's a wonderful ride. I love that ride. I took it twice.
I'm so excited.
Twice I had to cry. Twice I laughed and twice I cried. So yeah. And I think he's always adding more material to it too, because the second time I saw it, he was adding more material. So it's still developing into something else. And
these things constantly evolve, I think, as part of the process, and that's an amazing thing about Fringe. So often you get to it's like a playground, and it's a space where you can try whatever you want, make all your dreams come true in a little box.
Right. And was that your first production last year, or you guys already were doing it?
With our company, Blanket Fort Entertainment is the name of our company that we started together, and that was the first one that we'd done together. The first play that we ever did together.
But Anna directed a play the year prior, and I was in and produced a play a couple of years prior at the same space, the LGBT Center, which is just an amazing space.
But we had,
we
kind of, we were a little bit familiar with it, but producing is just a different beast, for sure.
Mm-hmm. And had great parties there. That would be a great
the
Gatsby, great Gatsby setting. I think so.
Oh. Are they doing that this year?
Wait, are you just? Is that?
No. No. I'm telling you guys, it would be a great setting for it. I didn't say that it, but
I think
wouldn't it be great?
Though.
I know, right? Everybody dressed up.
Yeah.
You know what?
I
might
love
have
that
to do
idea.
that.
Let's talk later. I love this idea.
Let's talk after. Let's talk after the show, please. Well, somebody else will steal it.
Yeah. Trademark.
Yeah.
I think we should do a series of all the books that you're supposed to read in high school as plays, as short plays.
Okay, I'll pick Frankenstein. Frankenstein is my favorite. When I read it, I was like, wow.
I actually really want to make that into an adaptation. I've been coming up with a ton of ideas.
And the thing about Frankenstein is his name is Victor.
Oh,
and
so you're all set.
So, and my mom's name's in it. My mom's name's Elizabeth, which is the victim, I guess.
Yeah.
So I'm like, wait a minute, their names are what? My mom's name here? Okay. Anyways, but it was told through letters, it must have been hard to adapt to a movie because it was basically letters. So that's why it spoke to me because it was letters from Victor to Elizabeth or whoever, and I'm like, it was told through letters. That's amazing. Like that's a different way of doing it.
Yeah. Sometimes those turn out like the Le Liaison Dangereuse, the Dangerous Liaisons. The play that's an epistolary novel too, all letters. So
it's Dracula.
Mm-hmm.
But
Dracula.
The last third of the book is all letters as well. So it does have. I feel like that's a very sort of gothic style.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love it.
It's great. Yeah, it's really great to tell, reveal a story from the first-hand perspective.
Yeah, and then you can speak from different characters' points of view.
And everybody has a different version of the story, which is amazing because like, who do you believe in this telling of the story? Because everybody has a different perception of it. And,
Yeah.
So
that is really,
he's not reliable. Is he reliable?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. It's up to the audience to decide who to trust.
Exactly. So anyways, guys, we're almost done with the show. Any last thoughts? Anything you want to say to the Soho audience that will come to see you guys?
Come check us out. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's a fun, quick show, and I think we're gonna make the most of it in that really cool space. It's a very historic theater, and it's a great neighborhood too. So it's like the perfect combination of everything.
And it's in Soho, and the story.
Most of the novel takes place in Soho, London, so it can have a little bit of that.
Oh,
there's some magic in the air. Plus, because of the time, it's a 7:00 show. You can get dinner beforehand, see the show, and then you still have time for drinks after. Perfect.
Yay!
Boom.
Right. You can bring your inner Hydes.
Yes.
Well, there's going to be.
You'll get the elixir down at the bar downstairs.
Yeah, at the bar downstairs, we're going to be serving Dr. Jekyll's Miracle Elixir. So
I love it.
Yeah. It'll be a very.
No, you guys want me. You guys made me want to go to New York, but anyways, I have to do Little Prince here. I'm stuck in Hollywood. No,
I'm doing a fringe show. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's so exciting to hear. Best of luck with the show. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, hopefully you guys come back to Hollywood and we can talk about Great Gatsby and stuff.
Great Gatsby, yeah.
And the F. Scott Fitzgerald
Love it.
adaptation.
Right.